Hello and welcome to In Conversation, this time with two of the best informed people, I think, on what is likely to happen next week, namely the arrival of the President of the United States, Barack Obama. On my right, Dr. Stephen Cohen of Brookings at Washington, but he belongs to India, Pakistan, and he headquarters himself at Brookings. On my left, Jaswant Singh, former foreign minister, and one who in fact has done the marathon, the famous marathon with Strobe Talbot on the nuclear issue. I hope that also will come up in the course of this discussion. The subject is the Obama visit. This is the first African-American president coming to India. How do you think will that little fact, play itself out in a country which is democratic, where upward mobility has brought various leaders to the top, but which is also very hierarchical? How does this one factor play here, Jaswant?
No, I don't think it plays at all. I don't think it's a factor that we need to even examine. The President of the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world today, in every sense, militarily, technologically, sadly, even culturally, but and he visits as President of the United States of America. And I don't think the descriptions that you started with need necessarily be any factor at all.
So you will have in the Central Hall of Parliament people clambering onto each other to touch him the way they tried to.
No, I don't say that, because President Clinton's visit was the first visit by an American president after a gap. Correct me, Steve, if I'm wrong.
The first visit after the Cold War.
No, after a gap of about 22 years. That was a very big thing. The great plus on the Clinton visit was what had preceded it. And what caught India's imagination was not so much the 98 tests or the fact that I was commissioned by the government of India and Strobe was commissioned by President Clinton, and we had engaged. It was Kargil. It was Kargil, and what President Clinton's role in that was. And for the first time, members of Indian Parliament and the Indian citizens at large, after a very long time, suddenly realized, no, United States of America can root for us also. That was the factor. And I think that, and of course President Clinton's style and personality and his ability to reach out made the visit. I don't think the Cold War factor was relevant in that at all.
You agree with that? I thought that Clinton was the first post-Cold War visit, whereas Carter, which was the earlier visit, was in the context of the Cold War. We had Morarji Desai, a non-Nehru Gandhi prime minister here, and he was trying to introduce a little navigational correction in Indian policy. But then circumstances changed. Within 3 months, you had Taraki in Afghanistan, and the Pakistanis were frontline states once again.
Well, Naqvi, so I think that the Carter visit, I was in India at the time and actually living in South India, and I could see the disaster growing. I think that was the first non-proliferation visit. Under Carter, American policy began to shift away from Cold War issues, although they were important, especially the Soviet invasion, towards non-proliferation issues. In a sense, there was an overlap. And I think that the way he muffed it, the open mic incident, really indicated that as far as his priorities were concerned, India was a non-proliferation problem. It wasn't a Cold War issue at all. And I think that dominated subsequent administrations after the Soviets left Afghanistan.
You mean Tarapur dominated that particular visit? Now let's switch to this one. The other day, Steve, you said, you were answering a question, you said you, namely an Indian, you pushed Pakistan into the Chinese lap. What did you mean?
I think that if you look at India-China relations broadly and strategically, and India-Pakistan relations, in a sense, India's always had the problem or the choice of separating the two. When you have two rivals who are in alliance, then you've got to think of a strategy to separate them, or perhaps not if you try to do it. And I think India has alternated between being nice to China, hoping the Chinese would drop the Pakistanis, and being nice to Pakistan, hoping the Pakistanis would drop the Chinese. Of course, the Americans were in there also. But I think that India has failed